What's good everyone, it's your boy Yidzig, 4eyes, 2Gs here, and today we're here to talk about 6ix9ine and his recent album TattleTales, which I've been able to give a couple listens to now, and in my opinion, off the first reaction, is absolutely mid. And this video isn't going to be a video where someone just says an album is trash and gives no reasons to kind of back it up. No, I'm going to break down exactly why I think this album is mid, especially compared to his previous music, which I was a big fan of, so let's break it down.
Left your pistol at home, what you forgot it was some straight shot, hit shot. Gang gon' go, they don't know when to stop. 10 rock, blue, black. My niggas around probably spinning your black. I'm already dead, but I'm in a coffee. Vision so spaced out, baby, I did this shit out. And what you heard was probably word of mouth. You need it straight from the faucet, you're too fly, no way you can start it. Hit the tells, I already couldn't call it. Ain't saying no, your message I love. I don't know how to stop, ain't no pausing. You said
okay, first of all, let's just begin by saying this and getting one thing very clear. Whether you like it or not, 6ix9ine definitely has SoundCloud classics. Gummo, definitely a SoundCloud classic. Poles, definitely a SoundCloud classic. And on top of that, a slew of his other songs are really good and continually slap to this day. Cuda definitely slaps to this day. Billy definitely slaps to this day. And there are a bunch of other songs of Dummy Boy, which I'm going to touch on later on in the video, that are still bumped regularly to this day. But this new album just isn't it, and I'm going to explain why. First of all, Ava, 100% this sounds like an off-brand Gunna song. He tries to use that melodic, Young Thug, etc flow, but it just doesn't sound good, and it just comes off biting Gunna, to be honest. And the beat as well with that guitar in the background, come on 6ix9ine, it just doesn't work. Secondly, Gator in one section uses the same flow as Gummo, plus on top of this, it features academics. Like, come on. But not only this, academics comes on for like 4 lines or something, and his voice is just laid in auto-tuned and all these effects to the point where it doesn't sound like academics, which is probably a good thing, but it's just such a pointless feature. Like, I don't know why he put it on there. So yeah, another bad song. Moving on though, we get to Punani. This song is definitely mid and 100% one of the worst songs 6ix9ine has ever actually gone to the effort of making a video and putting out as a single. I don't know why he put so much promotion into this song, but the fact it flopped really doesn't surprise me because, as I said, in my opinion, it's probably his worst single to date. Yaya, which was a Aladdin single he released before that, wasn't too bad to be honest, but when you've released a Aladdin song like Baby before, that's kind of my expectation of what I'm comparing it against, and Yaya just doesn't match up, to be honest. Leia with Akon was a terrible crossover attempt. Not even Akon could save this, and I don't know what they were thinking on this track, to be honest. Then the other song with Akon, Locked Up 2, Hikey, was probably the best song off the album for me. I've been anticipating this one since a snippet, and I'm glad they put it on the album. After that, we get to Nini, and Nini I can kind of vibe to be honest. If I was in the club, if I was a bit waved, I would probably dance to this one, so Nini gets a pass from me. After that, we also get to Tutu. This one was actually pretty good as well. This one kind of slapped. Not exactly an original flow from 6ix9ine, but it kind of worked, and I think he did it justice on this beat. And yeah, I guess those are kind of like my major gripes, major positives with the album. The rest of the songs I didn't mention were just kind of mid and didn't need to be mentioned, to be honest. So yeah, overall, as you can see, I definitely don't like the majority of this album, and I think there is one thing this album really shows, especially when you compare it to an album like Dummy Boy. The lack of features, or lack of quality features I should say, really hurt it. Nicki was decent on Trolls, to be honest. I really liked Fifi as well, but Smiles, Left Side, and Act were the definition of mid. Akon kind of did his thing on Locked Up Part 2, but Leia, as I said, just wasn't for me. But compare those features and kind of those songs to the Baby, the Tory, the Kanye, the Gunna features we got of Dummy Boy, and come on, you're lying to yourself if you say they come close. That album Dummy Boy was littered with features, and normally this can be a bit of a bad thing, but in 6ix9ine's case, I think it really helped out because of how big 6ix9ine was at that time. All these artists that got on the track really gave their best efforts. They came through with killer hooks, killer verses, and I think they were the most enjoyable parts of the song. And if on this album 6ix9ine was able to get a Kika level Tory feature or a TikTok level Baby feature, come on, they would have easily been the best songs on the album by far. Again, Gummo, Billy, Cuda, etc, absolute slappers that I loved back in the day and I still love now. But even the harder songs on this album that kind of try to replicate that sound and that delivery from 6ix9ine just don't hit the same. And maybe this is because, you know, there's not really all of these antics, and his aesthetic has gone through a major change, obviously pre-jail to post-jail. So now his post-jail music that sounds like his pre-jail music just doesn't connect in the same way because it doesn't really match up and doesn't really have the same aesthetic as it did before, but in another sense, I really think these songs just aren't as good, and I really think in terms of that hard-nosed, aggressive delivery style from 6ix9ine, he peaked with songs like Gummo and Billy, and no matter how hard he tries, as I said, on Gata, he uses one of the same flows from Gummo again. He's just not able to recapture the magic and the success of those songs, in my opinion. And last of all, it's just kind of interesting to think about because there was only 13 songs on this album, and I can only see myself going back to less than a handful of them, and I think it really shows how stretched thin creatively he is right now. I don't think there are going to be huge hits on this album like he had in the past, and really I just don't see myself going back to this album or the songs from this album as much as I did with his previous work, but that's just my truth and my honest feelings on the album, as I said, after a couple initial listens. And if you've given the album a listen, tell me in the comments whether you agree with me or not. How do you think it compares to his older stuff? Do you think it's going to do well commercially? Do you see this album having replay value? Let me know in the comments. Also guys, before we finish this video, I want to give a couple quick shout outs from the Instagram. Big shout out to Samuel, and also big shout out to Sing Prince Fort 260. Big shout out to you two for following me over on my IG. It's much appreciated. If you guys don't follow your boy man at your dig, make sure to go show me some love and drop your boy a follow. Also, you can see my merch pieces I have available on my big cartel on screen right now. We got a couple Cardi pieces, a dig merch piece. You can see them on screen. If you guys want to check it out, link will be in the description. But as always, that's all from me today, guys. Thanks a lot for watching. If you haven't, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, all that good YouTube stuff, and there are more videos of mine on screen right now. Make sure to check them out if you haven't.